Well, hello everyone. I didn't feel like being on camera today, so I thought I'd let you see the activity at my bird feeder, even though there's a screen, and I apologize for that. But there's so much activity, and I am so grateful for it. I call bird watching my meditation time. I could do it all day long. They just amaze me. Very soothing. I know that may seem silly to some, but I haven't owned a TV in over a decade, and I don't watch TV. I read and I learn things, take notes, take a lot of notes. Anyway, I've been patiently waiting to start my new job. I'm excited about it. I'm going to do my best to make this work. I got to worry about my health right now. I need insurance so I can get my teeth fixed. So I'm going to work real hard on that. But I spend a lot of time alone. So I don't have anybody to talk to. Every now and then I call somebody, but most people just don't have time to chit-chat or whatever. And I can get into some really deep thoughts. I spent a lot of time alone for a lot of years, actually. Even when I was sharing spaces with my son for several years. Him as an adult, we weren't like in the same room together very often. Between work and life and everything else, yeah. So I've had lots of time to think about life and the things that happen to us. And I'm on this healing journey that I've been like just trying to learn about myself and the relationships I have with people and dissecting them and seeing like what's my part in it. Where did I go wrong? Did I say something wrong? But what I've realized is that, even if people choose not to see your growth, it does not mean that it's not happening. It might be a private thing. They call it that dark night of the soul, where you go through a lot of emotional stuff and you look at your life. And I just think it's like this crossover into absolute maturity, I think. Because, I learned in AA many, many years ago that they believe that you would stop growing emotionally. It's what they preach in like substance abuse programs and stuff. They say that you stop growing emotionally, the day that you start drinking. Now, I don't know about you, but I started drinking at a really young age as a way to escape. So when I was in the program many years ago, we used to pick on each other and say, well, that was kind of a childish reaction to have, but then again, we're only such and such age. Like comparing your alcoholic sobriety to your emotional maturity. So say you started drinking at 11 years old and you've had 1 year sobriety, so that you're considered to be 12 years old emotionally. So of course you're still going to have very childish reactions to things. Reality, life on life's terms sometimes is not fun. And when I'm going through stuff, at least in the last 8-10 years, I pretty much keep to myself until I figure it out, because I spent much of my life just exploding at people. And when I'm in one of those emotional states, I can be quite loud. I can be aggressive. I can be intimidating. I know all these things about myself. But when you're in it, it's hard to see. But it's part of the crappy childhood fairy has really explained so much stuff to me, and I learned so much. I learned so much from that woman, and I'm so grateful for her. And if she ever, runs across one of my videos, maybe she'll see that she's been an instrumental part in the last few years of me understanding myself. And I'm finally at a spiritual space where I can actually sit down and take a look at it. And I seen this post yesterday, and I want to share this. And it says, she was never prepared for half of what she went through, but she got through it. She always will. And then it was signed, she is me. And that is very true. Okay, you see all this bird activity going on in the background? I was talking and wasn't even paying attention, but these are cardinals, and I wish the screen wasn't there so you could see better. They're cardinals and wrens and tittermouse birds, northern tittermouse. And there's a couple of rosy finches that come there, and also a couple of sparrows so far. But I just love all the activity there. It's sprinkling a little bit today, and they're enjoying that. So I thought that was a good poem because, yeah, beautifully put. I follow Van City Van Life. I watched a lot of his videos. This man lives in Canada, and he's a great guy, but I mean, if you ever feel down, like, I live in a unconventional situation. Mine is due to trying to be independent, and economically, this is what I was able to afford. Anyway, here's to moving up, because I'm moving up. Yes, it's all about changing your mindset. But I watch him because, he shows you that it's tough out there living in a very unconditional way, but it's doable. And you just have to, I fight seasonal depression myself. And so winters are difficult anyway, but because of the lack of sunshine and so on and so forth, it makes it a little harder to endure. And people who don't suffer from it do not understand what it's like to fight that depression shit going on inside of yourself. It's really hard. And so I just want to let people know that you're not alone in that. And if you're fighting it, if you already have, a history of having those issues, but people don't understand if they don't have it. And if you have seasonal, it's even worse. Like, it just piles onto it because the cold just makes you just want to curl up in a ball and stay in bed. But you can't do that. You got to get up and take care of yourself. And I'm so grateful for my dogs. They keep me going every day. They make sure I get up out of bed. They're not going to let me forget that. So, I heard this morning, I was listening to Emmy Evolving. She's also a YouTube creator. And she said, you grow through diversity and a stronger you appears. Doors close and others open, allowing you to build a stronger foundation. You grow spiritually through your South Node as you graduate into your North Node. And I'm at that halfway, that midway point. You know, my mind is there, but I'm just not, I haven't moved it as of yet, but I'm working on it. It's all about a plan. And keeping your hopes up and forcing yourself to look at the future no matter how grim it is right now. Because you can work your way up out of it. I've done it before. So I read something else today that I just wanted to share. And this is page 559 in the big book again. The blue big book. It says, we cannot afford resentments and self-pity, so we learn to avoid these festering mental attitudes. Similarly, we rid ourselves of guilt and remorse as we clean out the garbage from our minds through the 4th and 5th steps of our recovery program. Which also the childhood fairy teaches you that. That is part of her daily program. Writing your resentments down, getting them out on paper, and going into meditation and giving it away to whatever higher power you pay. It's the same concept. We learn how to level out the emotional swings that got us into trouble in the first place. When we were up, both when we were up and when we were down. We are taught to differentiate, I can't say that word, between our wants, which are never satisfied, and our needs, which are always provided for. So, you know, even though my circumstances are rough and, you know, not ideal, through strength and belief in your higher power and yourself, you can get through it. You don't, and that's how you learn to love yourself, right? It says, we cast off the burdens of the past and the anxieties of the future as we begin to live in the present, one day at a time. We are granted the serenity to accept the things we cannot change and thus lose our quickness to anger and our sensitivity to criticism. And above all else, we reject fantasizing and accept reality. In my mind's eye, I played and replayed scenes in which I was plucked magically from where I stood and was instantly exalted to some position of power and prestige. I lived in a dream world, but through my daily program led me gently from fantasizing to embrace reality with open arms. And I found it beautiful, for at least I was at peace with myself and with others and with God. Now that is a deep, deep, deep thing to think about. And so, this is where I am. This is what I do with my days of solitude. I let the watching of my little bird feeder keep me in a state of calmness so that I can think about these deep and heavy things. I don't have anybody to bounce it off of. So I'm going to start just putting it out there because, you know, I spend a lot of time writing and dissecting things and learning things. And it gets all jumbled up sometimes because I get on information overload. And so once in a while I'll call somebody and it'll just blurt out my thought on the whole situation. And I can sense sometimes that I lose them, that they just they're off. Maybe they're watching something or, ignoring the conversation. It's hard to see when you're talking on the phone, but it wasn't a video chat. And I have a lot of lighting issues right now, so just bear with me. I hope all the bird activity is seeable on this video. It's more important that you hear what I'm saying than to see what I'm trying to show you. I'm not that great with a camera, but I'll get better. I just don't like the cold. Don't want to go outside. Even though it's cold in my house too, it's much colder outside. I'm very grateful. Sometimes the things that you go through make you strong. And then people think that you're so strong that when you do ask for help, they ignore you because they just think that you're just feeling sorry for yourself. Nobody looks at the fact that you've been walking a path a long time by yourself. So for those in their, I don't know, in their 50s, some 60s that are just finally starting to heal and you just want to move on, just be patient with yourself. I try to be patient with myself every day. Sometimes your happiness is because you're in the wrong place with the wrong people. And that's probably why you're unhappy. That's what I was thinking. I heard that this morning. So, this is a really deep subject. I had a deep thought yesterday. Back in 2020, there was a man that was running for the presidential nomination called Andrew Yang. And he was his campaign promises were UBI, Universal Basic Income. And he was also talking about how the jobs in this world are going to be animated at some point. And I see it happening everywhere I go. Everywhere I go, you're expected to be your own cashier here lately. You got kiosks at McDonald's and sandwich shops, and you've got the automatic, the cashier stands at Walmart and all these big conglomerate grocery stores. I walked into a small grocery store recently, and I mean, with all the waste that I see on YouTube of people doing videos of dumpster diving their dumpsters, I mean, they waste a lot. Doesn't surprise me that they're trying to save money by cutting out people's jobs and letting machines do the work, because there's just so much waste. Anyway, I see everything that he's saying happening, and it's only been a few years. So, what's going to happen by 2030? How many jobs are really going to be out there? Everybody's working from home now because that's what they adapted to during COVID, and now we're working from home, and that's going to eliminate a lot of jobs too, right? Or at least make it cheaper for those conglomerates to run their businesses, because they don't have to have office buildings for them anymore. So my thought yesterday to my friend was, and I'm trying to do that myself, is more computer knowledge, and you better figure out a way to make a living from your home online, because that's what the future's going to be. I don't think there's going to be very many like actual stores you can go into and shop. I mean, a lot of it's going to go online, I think. And so for anybody that's older and thinks that you can't learn, don't think that way. I may have to go back to a working for somebody else for a while to get back on my feet, but I'm still trying to make other things work in that realm, because we got to prepare for the future. I mean, automation has been taking over for many years in factories. I mean, like there was a 5-year span where I hadn't been in a factory, and then I got a factory job after not being in it for many years. And the job that I used to do when I first started working in a factory, this was a plastics factory, they had an automated arm that went in there and took the part out. And I thought to myself, I used to be the one up there opening the door and pulling the part out, right? And now there's a machine that reaches down in there and takes it out and puts it on a line for it to be inspected. But pretty soon they're going to have scanners that are going to do that. So what used to take 3 people to do, now they've got it down to 2 people or 1 person or no person, like the cashiers at the stores. Almost every Dollar General has their own self-swipe. We'll call it that, self-swipe. And a song popped into my head yesterday when I was having that conversation, and I didn't say anything to that person, but I wrote it down, and I don't know who sings it or anything. It's just a line in a song. It's the end of the world as we know it, but I feel fine. I don't even know who wrote that song. I looked it up, but it's not the name of a song. So I don't know. It's in a song. And I think that's what the next step is going to be. It's going to be based on just online stuff, like on the computer. We're going to take this computer thing and just run with it. But it's also a way to share your ideas in a huge manner. Oh, and by the way, my last short got 100 views. It beat the spider. I am in shock. I still only have that 1 subscriber across the board who I think is my stalker. But that's okay. Eventually, someone will want to have a discussion about this, because I can't be the only one that's thinking this. That, because I'm in my mid-50s and I'm thinking, okay, what am I going to do until I can retire? It's not going to be so physically tasking on me. That's my thought in my mind. And the younger generation has already taken this and run with it. They've got online stores. They're doing this and that. And when I bring it up, some people just look at me like I'm nuts, because they're so caught up in the day-to-day, job that they're at, whatever job that may be. And I'm fixing to go back out there and do that. But in the meantime, everything happens for a reason. I'm supposed to be by myself right now. So that way, even though I may be just taking notes about this stuff right now, eventually I'm going to meet some people that are going to want to have some serious conversation about this. I mean, I just heard the other day that Social Security is going to be done in 12 years. Well, in 12 years, I'll be exactly 66 years old. Now, why do you think that is? I'm going to take heed to that. And I'm going to do everything I can to become self-sufficient in the next 5 years, where I don't need to be living under these circumstances anymore. And I can see my little, I'll call it a homestead. I can see my little homestead in my mind. So here's to not giving up. May God bless you and your family. I hope you enjoyed the little bird activity that's going on. I just absolutely love it. It keeps me cheerful on a very cold day. That and some good hot tea. It's unfortunate that I have to turn my heater off to make hot water, but I do have a thermos, so I make use of it. You use the skills that you have and make do with what you have. It is going to get warmer. By 3 a.m. it's going to increase in temperature by about 10 degrees, so I'm grateful for that. See, it's the little small things that you need to be grateful for. Don't let the obstacles just tear you down to the point where you're not wanting to keep moving. I refuse. You know, lots of people say all you need is the faith of a mustard seed. Well, mine's really large. In myself, also. So I hope that everybody has a blessed day. And this was some deep thought. I'm going to listen to it back. Might be a little bit too much to put out there. But that's what this journey is about. Share your experience, your strength, your hopes. Work through your fears, one day at a time. May God bless you and keep you. And here's to finding your tribe. Have a blessed day.